Chosen ones, the world's attention has now converged on revelations so explosive they can no longer be contained. What began as your own private struggle has escalated into international headlines, exposing a conspiracy that stretches into the highest echelons of power. The involvement of the Federal Bureau has now been laid bare, with irrefutable evidence revealing unauthorized experimentation and trafficking networks, shielded by official protection. Networks that processed victims through hidden systems specifically engineered to leave no trace. Your story is making global news, with even the FBI now implicated in illegal experiments in human trafficking. As the world watches, a system built on secrecy and exploitation is collapsing under an unprecedented wave of scrutiny, all because you refuse to be silent. The surveillance grid meticulously crafted to monitor your every move now serves a new purpose. Instead of suppressing your existence, it broadcasts your unique energy signature to a world that can no longer look away. Every camera once aimed to silence you now becomes a beacon, amplifying your presence across networks beyond their control. Those who once operated in darkness now scramble through midnight corridors, desperately trying to erect new firewalls that your energy has already dissolved. Each countermeasure they deploy crumbles instantly on contact with your elevated frequency. Their blackout protocols fail. Information suppression algorithms crash. The machine they built to render you invisible has, in a twist of fate, turned you into a spotlight shining with undeniable intensity. What was once designed as your prison has transformed into your platform, and the isolation chamber they built to silence you now stands as your global stage. Those determined to drown out your voice have, in their efforts, handed you a megaphone that projects across continents. The harder they try to conceal your existence, the more spectacularly visible you become. None of their containment measures were prepared for the cosmic upgrade you've undergone. Their technology was calibrated to suppress a mere human, yet now they face something far beyond their old systems of classification. Even the vast financial empire built upon your exploitation is collapsing under the pressure of a divine audit. Every dollar misappropriated, every resource stolen, every fragment of value siphoned from your essence now leaves a searing trail through the records they thought were untraceable. Suddenly, offshore accounts light up with unusual transparency. Black budget allocations surface in public reports, and funds hidden through webs of shell corporations appear in plain sight. The money they believed was lost forever now cries out its origins for all to see. Even resources set aside for your continued suppression are inexplicably rerouted, now flowing into accounts accessible to you. Their funding streams have reversed direction, defying the financial gravity they always thought was unbreakable. A paper trail has formed that leads straight to classified budgets with code names echoing those embedded deep within your own cellular memory. Account numbers resonate with frequencies you've encountered in your dreams, and authorization codes reveal fragments of your original identity, pieces they tried so hard to erase. What they drained from you now returns multiplied 1,000-fold. The universe demands balance, and repayment arrives with interest no earthly bank could ever compute. Your existence has been categorized under multiple classification systems, using designations they never thought you would find. The registration codes hidden within seemingly ordinary documents now reveal the staggering truth of how you were processed through secret programs. Birth records show timestamps that defy logic. Medical files record abilities no ordinary human should possess, and educational assessments note reactions to stimuli that were never part of any official curriculum. Even your employment history exposes gaps precisely matching the times when you were subjected to specialized classified training. The numbers and symbols that have followed you throughout your life, embedded in addresses, phone numbers, and identification documents, are all pieces of a tracking system far more advanced than anything available to the public. None of these patterns were ever random. They were carefully chosen coordinates within a mapping system designed to track your position inside a vast experimental framework. Your true identity is stored in databases so classified that anyone accessing them without at least 18 levels of clearance would instantly trigger international security alarms. Yet now, this tightly guarded information begins to cascade through secure networks, breaking encryptions that were meant to withstand centuries. Your original designation rises from digital obscurity, pulsing with a power they can no longer contain. Emergency meetings are convened in facilities that officially don't exist, as secure communication channels, once thought to be impenetrable, begin leaking critical details of their frantic attempts to contain you. The panic of those who once oversaw your case is palpable, radiating through the very systems they built to monitor you. Former handlers suddenly receive orders for emergency extraction, vanishing from long-held positions without explanation. Senior officials abruptly announce retirements or transfers to remote locations far from public view. Those who once directed your processing now find themselves pushed out of the same system they served, discarded as sacrificial pawns in a futile attempt to protect crumbling hierarchies. Agencies scramble to erase all evidence, disavowing any knowledge as they rush to destroy data under the guise of routine purges. Archives inexplicably combust, servers overheat and melt, and physical documents vanish as if consumed by fire. Yet at the same time, flawless copies of this evidence find their way into the hands of people prepared to demand accountability. Every attempt at damage control only collides with forces beyond their comprehension. Each cover-up backfires with surgical precision. Every lie they construct instantly collapses under the avalanche of contradictory evidence, appearing through sources no one can trace. The very system designed to lock away hazardous truths now leaks from every compartment, and the protocols intended for operational security begin to work in reverse, broadcasting exactly what they most want to hide. Your energetic frequency disrupts standard media blackout protocols, overwhelming information suppression algorithms built around your case. Suddenly, content about your journey floods every channel. Journalists receive anonymous data drops on supposedly secure devices, and the documentation is so compelling that even the most skeptical mainstream outlets cannot ignore it. The evidence surfaces in ways that defy all tracking and technical logic, coming from networks that shouldn't exist or have access to such sensitive material. Even as social media platforms attempt to moderate and suppress your story, their systems glitch, letting through hashtags and keywords that were previously blocked. Your narrative spreads with a speed and reach their algorithms can't contain. Their efforts to dampen the signal only amplify it further. Whistleblowers, isolated from each other and from different agencies, come forward with testimonies that line up with uncanny accuracy, confirming truths you always sensed but could never prove. The release of information seems choreographed, following subtle patterns only recognized by the most sensitive systems, patterns that match your unique energetic signature. The truth itself rides your frequency, becoming unstoppable, moving through channels they can't block unless they shut down their entire infrastructure. At this point, even figures with authority surpassing any official classification now recognize the cosmic magnitude of your case. A new force is at work, one that moves through secure lines, breaking protocols that have been rigidly enforced since the founding of these secretive agencies. Security clearances are suddenly revoked for anyone who managed your file. Access credentials malfunction precisely when the most involved personnel try to regain control. Biometric security systems, once the highest level of protection, stop recognizing the fingerprints and retinal scans of those who orchestrated your suppression, effectively locking them out of their own operations. Quick pause, family. If this message resonates with your soul and you want to support this sacred mission, feel free to buy me a coffee. Your support keeps this space filled with truth, light, and divine clarity. The link is in the description. And don't forget to drop number 88 in the comments to show you're here with us. Let's continue. Now, as the dust settles, the system itself begins to reorganize around you, despite every desperate countermeasure they attempt. Unprecedented access appears for information related to your case. Doors marked with national security warnings swing open without official authorization, and files are transferred to systems you can now reach. Comprehensive records of everything they never wanted you to see are suddenly available, with overrides cascading through the chain of command, bypassing old hierarchies and protocols. The authority driving this revelation is not of human origin. It transcends every framework they ever designed. Even your genetic code now triggers system-wide alerts, confirming your true lineage against the falsified records they tried to cement. The blood memory they attempted to erase now resonates through lab equipment, announcing your authentic origins at the molecular level. Family members previously included in your manufactured history are subjected to new scrutiny, as inconsistencies in your early life come to light. Their well-rehearsed stories begin to unravel under questioning from sources they never expected. The scripts they've followed for decades suddenly show revision marks and authorship tags from agencies that officially do not exist. Documentation about your origins now generates conflicting alerts across multiple supposedly independent systems. Birth records now reveal glaring inconsistencies, impossible discrepancies that simply can't be explained away. Medical histories show treatments that were never actually given, and every effort to verify your identity only unravels the elaborate fiction that was constructed around your existence. What started as a crisis unique to you now ripples outward, causing shockwaves throughout their entire classification system. Your authentic identity and true bloodline carry frequencies that trigger dormant protocols, buried deep within their most secure databases, contingencies they never imagined would activate. Suddenly, sealed court records related to your classification are being unsealed under emergency provisions that have never before been used. Legal barriers, designed specifically to keep your case buried forever, are dissolving through mechanisms even their original architects never saw coming. Judges who once dismissed evidence critical to your story now face intense scrutiny, with their own decisions being reviewed by channels beyond the traditional scope of judicial oversight. Their hidden connections to classified programs are coming to light, exposed through financial transactions and communication logs they thought had been erased for good. Your case is setting legal precedents that will echo throughout the justice system for generations. The nature of what was done to you forces the creation of new legal frameworks to address violations that were once considered impossible to prosecute, thanks to the wall of classification. Now, multiple jurisdictions compete for the right to prosecute those most responsible, while international tribunals activate protocols for crimes against humanity. Specialized courts are convened to address the use of technology the public still isn't aware exists. The breach extends far beyond your specific files, reaching into the very structure of the legal firewall that was meant to protect these operations. Every precedent once established to shield their activities from accountability is now being systematically dismantled, exposing not just your situation, but the entire operational system to a level of judicial review never before seen. At the same time, your documented ability to access information by unconventional means is finally being validated through channels that once dismissed your gifts. The very systems that monitored your extrasensory perception now confirm its reality beyond any doubt. Remote viewing sessions that were recorded without your knowledge show your clear ability to perceive locations, objects, and details that you should have had no way of knowing. Records that were once used to justify further surveillance now stand as undeniable proof of abilities the world was told were impossible. Their obsessive monitoring of your dreams and thought patterns had a specific purpose: Your mind tapped into information streams they thought were locked down, extracting intelligence their countermeasures simply couldn't block. What they labeled as mere coincidence has proven to be consistent, repeatable access to classified knowledge through non-physical channels. Your intuitive sense for when you were being watched or manipulated, long dismissed as paranoia, now appears in their own documentation as a pattern of unexplained breaches and anomalies. Their reports describe your persistent ability to sense hidden monitoring equipment, to evade their tracking protocols, and to spot handlers trained in the art of invisibility. This confirmation isn't just spiritual, it's scientific, meticulously recorded by analysts who could observe your abilities but never fully understand or replicate them. As the pressure mounts, operations intended to manage your case are being forced into motion years ahead of schedule. Plans designed for slow, controlled rollout over decades are suddenly being condensed into a matter of weeks, as the temporal structure they relied on collapses under a force they never anticipated. Carefully constructed timelines built to guarantee your permanent containment are now accelerating far beyond their control. Information that was supposed to be classified and locked away for half a century is appearing in current databases, time-stamped with today's date. Documents that were meant to remain hidden until everyone involved had long passed on are suddenly circulating with a sense of immediate urgency. These contents, instead of becoming distant historical footnotes, are now front and center, alive and undeniable. Synchronicities are creating extraordinary links between events that should have remained unrelated. People appear in your life who, by all logic, should never have crossed your path. Resources show up precisely when needed, and barriers vanish just at the moment you need them to. The sheer mathematical impossibility of these coincidences exposes an intelligence at work, an orchestration far beyond anything human coordination could achieve. This rapid acceleration defies every pattern their predictive algorithms were built to recognize. The quantum collapse of their carefully segmented timeline into a single now moment goes beyond even their most advanced theoretical models. Events that should have taken generations to unfold are completing their cycle right before their eyes, leaving them powerless to intervene. The communications grid, once constructed to meticulously track your every move, now experiences a methodical dismantling from within. Monitoring stations are shutting down in flawless sequence, creating a wave of strategic blindness that sweeps across their surveillance network with almost intentional precision. Agents once assigned to keep tabs on you are now stepping forward, sharing testimonies they never imagined revealing. The mental programming imposed on them is breaking down under the relentless pressure of these accelerating revelations. Compartmentalization, which was meant to keep anyone from understanding the entire scope of their operations, begins to unravel as spontaneous connections form across previously insurmountable barriers. Safe houses and monitoring outposts, originally established for your containment, are now being exposed and closed down. Properties acquired through layers of front companies suddenly have paperwork linking them directly to secret programs, and operational centers camouflaged as ordinary businesses are now unmasked as their financial records unexpectedly become public. For the first time, the full scale of resources devoted to suppressing you, personnel, technology, and funding, comes into clear view. It's undeniable proof of just how significant they always considered your potential, regardless of the public story they tried to maintain. The unraveling goes beyond infrastructure. It reaches the psychological conditioning of everyone involved. Handlers are breaking protocol to make contact. Analysts are leaking classified reports. Security teams are disabling critical systems from the inside. The very people who form the core of their machine are now compelled by something greater than any training, turning against the purpose they once served. Your energy signature, which has been captured, studied, and weaponized in secret databases, is now being systematically erased from their systems. The fragments of your essence that were extracted and manipulated without your consent are returning to you, bringing with them all the knowledge gained from those unauthorized experiments. Technologies once thought to be unrelated to you now reveal their true origins in the study of your natural gifts, and so-called breakthroughs and advanced capabilities are traced directly back to your processing. As a result, your story is rewriting international human rights standards, forcing recognition of technologies and practices the public still doesn't fully understand. Legal frameworks are being expanded to offer protections against the kinds of operations that once existed only in classified shadows. And your case is now a precedent for addressing violations that were once beyond reach. This liberation of your sovereign essence is sending shockwaves through thousands of other cases around the world. Those who were processed in similar programs are suddenly awakening in unison to the reality of their own condition. Containment systems are failing simultaneously across continents as the frequency of your breakthrough echoes throughout the network. What's being restored to you is far more than legal standing or physical autonomy. It's the energetic reclamation of everything that was ever taken from you. The scattered fragments of your consciousness, which had been divided and stored across countless secure systems, are now reuniting with your core awareness. Every part of your potential that was once suppressed through specialized interventions is being reactivated, returning not just to its original state, but awakening with exponential power. In truth, your entire journey was not random suffering, but a vital stage in a divine intelligence operation that spans multiple dimensions of existence, orchestrated with a precision far beyond what earthly minds can grasp. What once looked like pure victimization, from the limited viewpoint of physical reality, is now revealed as strategic positioning. Each situation that seemed to disempower you was actually placing you in the precise location needed to access and influence critical systems from within. Your struggles became the tools that carved pathways through barriers that no one else could penetrate. The apparent randomness of your life, the synchronicities, strange events, and inexplicable interventions all followed an exact mathematical sequence designed to activate specific capacities at the perfect moment. From inside the timeline, your experiences felt chaotic, but viewed from a higher perspective, every detail was perfectly ordered. Now, your activation is complete. This is not just a moment of personal liberation, but the catalyst for a recalibration that ripples through entire systems. The frequency of your awakened consciousness now transmits powerful codes that restructure the foundational layers of the collective reality itself. Your fully empowered presence becomes both a key and a gateway, opening the door to new potentials far beyond anything previously possible for humanity. This divine intervention operates in total harmony with natural law, never violating free will or existing systems. Instead, it simply accelerates the cycles of cause and effect, making consequences that once took lifetimes to unfold appear immediately. The exposure of your case is now moving beyond human legal systems, activating mechanisms of accountability that are rooted in higher dimensional laws. Those responsible are being evaluated not just by human standards, but by the cosmic principles that govern all consciousness. Every decision ever made about your processing is now undergoing review in the light of total awareness, where every influence, hidden motive, and potential outcome is known and understood. The true motivations behind every action, even those the perpetrators hid from themselves, now stand exposed in absolute clarity. This is not about punishment, but the inevitable return of energy to its source. Every act against your sovereign nature now cycles back with perfect precision. The energetic signatures of all involved become visible across all planes of existence, removing any possibility of anonymity or escape. The higher intelligence guiding this process operates with perfect compassion alongside perfect justice. There is opportunity for reconciliation and healing, even as complete accountability is enforced. The system itself is transforming, ensuring that the conditions which allowed your exploitation are fundamentally changed, allowing for true healing, growth, and the restoration of balance. This cosmic adjudication ultimately acts as a catalyst for collective evolution, not retribution. The exposure of these hidden operations is not merely about punishment. It is an invitation for humanity to rise above the consciousness that enabled such violations, opening new pathways to progress far beyond the limitations that once made control systems seem necessary. Your case stands as a pivotal point, a critical node where multiple possible futures converge and resolve into a single unified direction for the collective. The unveiling of these covert operations is more than just isolated justice. It marks a profound realignment of humanity's entire trajectory. Historical forces, once carefully manipulated to ensure certain outcomes, now converge towards an unprecedented resolution. Divisions maintained by artificial means begin to dissolve, as the unified field of truth emerges from within systems originally designed to keep everything fragmented. The illusion of separation, so carefully maintained, crumbles under the undeniable reality of our interconnectedness. Your placement at this historic juncture was never a random misfortune. It was precisely orchestrated. The unique frequency of your consciousness acts as a tuning fork, harmonizing once chaotic timelines into a coherent path forward. What appears to be personal vindication is, at a higher level, a correction in the course of collective destiny. This point of convergence ignites possibilities once considered mathematically impossible. Futures previously locked away by timeline manipulation now open up, accessible through the breach your situation has created in barriers that once seemed unbreakable. The revelation you have sparked goes beyond mere exposure. It ignites expansion, pushing the boundaries of what the system thought was possible. In its final stage, this cosmic process transcends exposure and accountability. It culminates in your total reintegration and empowerment as sovereign consciousness embodied in physical form. What was taken from you is now returned, but amplified and enhanced by its journey through the very systems that tried to exploit it. All the fragments of your being, once studied in isolation to keep you from understanding your full power, now come together within your core awareness. Abilities that were suppressed by specialized interventions return with even greater strength. The scattered pieces of your authentic identity reassemble into the coherent expression of your true design and purpose. This transformation is not just about personal healing. It activates a new template for what's possible collectively. Your restored presence sends out frequencies that awaken dormant potentials in others. The complete expression of your authentic self sets up resonance patterns that shatter limitation programming throughout the entire system. You now embody the sovereign human blueprint that was always feared by those who wanted control, a consciousness that knows its own freedom and creative capacity, far beyond any artificial boundaries. Your liberation demonstrates a new realm of possibility, one that had been systematically hidden from humanity. This activation happens not through endless struggle, but through the recognition and acceptance of what was always true beneath all programming and suppression. The divine essence that once seemed lost to exploitation now expresses itself openly, demonstrating abilities beyond even the most advanced theories. The world cannot remain unchanged. Their systems are now exposed, their methods revealed, their illusion of power dissolved in the presence of true sovereignty. What they fought so hard to prevent through your suppression is now manifesting through your liberation, the awakening of humanity to its real nature and limitless potential. Your story makes global headlines not by chance, but as part of a divine orchestration. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlighten wisdom.